Today we're continuing with our topic on Jewish meditation. And before even starting meditating, a person has to know what address they're trying to achieve. It's very important. That's number one. I'm going to meditate. On what? Where am I going? Where's my mind going to go? Where's my mind going to focus on? A person's going to know where the address is. Right? You want to send a letter. Well, if you don't know where the address is, you're not going to get it. Letter's not going to go anywhere. You're going to send an email. If you don't know where the address is, it's not going to go anywhere. So it's very important. Number one is, before meditating, is a person's going to know what the address is. What am I trying to achieve? What is my goal? Where do I want to go? So Darizal was able, before he went to sleep, he would think, I want to go to the shir of so-and-so, Rambam, one day, Shimon Bar Yochai, and he was able to send his soul to that place and listen to the shir. I mean, it's amazing. So a person needs to know whether I'm trying to meditate. What am I trying to do? What for? What am I doing it for? That's number one. Number two is what I want to go. Number three is what is my aim in life? What is my goal in life? So even sometimes a person has a question, a deep question, they should meditate on that question. A person can meditate. What is my aim in life? Just thinking about it. What is my game in life? What is my goal in life? What am I trying to achieve with my life? Right? How do I improve myself? All these are meditations, simple meditations. And when a person meditates, they actually, by focusing their mind, they're actually using the muscles of their mind. Well, a lot of people cannot focus. That's most of the problems today. You see in school, ADD, ADHD, people cannot focus. They cannot. So it's just by a person, just put a sitter in front of someone and see how long the person can focus. If you're really truthful, how long can a person focus in the sitter? A minute, 2 minutes, small amounts. So just by meditating on something and focusing the mind on something, a person is exercising the part of the mind that focuses. Right? A person can imagine a person in deep thought about something. That's focusing on something. Unfortunately, usually it's a focus because we're forced to focus. Right? A person has a deadline. That's it. I hate deadlines. Why? But because you have to sit down and push yourself to do something. But you know what? Without the deadline, a person wouldn't focus. Very simple. So after college, when a person finishes their exams, they try and focus the least possible. Right? It's all about having a good time. It's not about focusing anymore. Why? Because there's no exams. If I have no exams, why do I need to cram? When I'm cramming, I'm focusing. So now a person's got to learn how to focus the mind voluntarily. That's hard. Voluntarily, it's very hard because there's no pressure. So with prayer, it's voluntary, right? We don't view prayer as an obligation in which we have to focus and there's a deadline and there's a pressure from above. We don't see pressure from above. So if I don't pressure from above, why should I focus? So it's all about practicing the meditation, which is focusing. So there's two parts of the meditation. Number one is focusing, just practicing to focus. And number two is bringing spirituality into one's life. And that's the high level of meditation, right? So low level meditation is just practicing to meditate. The high level meditation is actually bringing down holiness into one's life by meditating on holy things. The person meditates on God's names, brings holiness into the person, brings holiness into the soul. So, okay, next. What else? Motivation. What is a person's motivation to meditate? A person's motivating themselves because they want power. Some people, they think meditation brings to prophecy, and prophecy is power. I can tell God what to do, I can do miracles, that's what I want. I want miracles, I want the ability to do miracles. So what happens is, wrong motive. It's a very wrong motive, it's a very evil motive in a sense, and therefore it's not a good motive for meditating. A person wants to meditate for power. No. Those who want to meditate to know the future, not such a bad motive. But it's an ulterior motive, it's not a real motive. And if a person wants to meditate to get closer to God, now you're talking the language. That's the point of meditation. The point of meditation is Dveikut, which we talked about. It's the point of meditation is to get closer to Hashem. So by a person having the wrong motives, it's very, very dangerous. Because they can attract impurities as opposed to attracting purity. So having wrong motives is very, very important. Make sure a person's motives are right. Why am I doing this? Why do I want to meditate? Is it just because I want to float in the air? What's the goal? If I want to get closer to Hashem, excellent. If I don't want to get closer to Hashem, I just want to be meditating. Okay. So if you're meditating on I don't know, just to relax, okay, that's fine as well. It's not going to get you anywhere. Okay, you got to be relaxed, that's all. That's good. But a person has negative energies and negative thoughts. I want to meditate because I want power. I want the ability to do miracles. I want the ability to tell God what to do. I want the ability to do all sorts of things. That is bad motivation. That attracts evil energy. So it's very, very important to know that a person's motivation is very critical. And not just the motivation, but also the midot of a person. If a person had bad midot, that's probably the worst thing to do, to meditate. Because the midot are like antenna. And the antenna can bring in energies based on... So can you imagine, a person is really mad and he's meditating. What are you meditating on? I'm meditating on Hashem. He's not in a fit state to meditate on Hashem. Since he's not in a fit state to meditate on Hashem, he's going to attract evil energies because he's not... What is he attracting? He's in a mad state. He's in a bad state. He can't attract good things. So it's very, very important to do teshuvah before a person meditates. And a person's going to know that their level, their spiritual level, is also very important to how they meditate and what they get back. Right? What do we get back? We get back what we put in. A person's putting in not very good things, getting back very bad things as well. So it's very important what we put in and what we get back. So sin, anger, wrong desires can cause levels to depart. And when holiness departs, the opposite takes place. We know there's no such thing as a vacuum, right? We talked about this many times. Habor rek and bomayim. What parasha was that? Last week, Vayeshev. Parasha Vayeshev. So then the Gaon says no such thing as a vacuum. If the pit is empty, Rashi says straight away, what does it say? Two negatives. There were snakes and scorpions. And that's what applies in the spiritual world. If we're not doing the right thing, we're doing the wrong thing. We're doing the wrong thing automatically. You cannot do nothing. There's no such thing as doing nothing spiritually. Because where there's a vacuum, the vacuum gets filled up with garbage. It's very important. Just like there's no vacuum in the physical world, it's very hard to get a real vacuum. Even in space, it's not a real vacuum. There's all sorts of things running around in space. But there's gases in space, very obviously much less than there is over here. But there's no such thing as a real vacuum. It takes a lot of effort to produce a real vacuum. I think they get to 98% vacuum. There's always a 2% impurity in the vacuum. In these fabrication plants for these semiconductors, the chips, they got to try and get it as pure as possible because there's no impurities in the chips. Right? So it's very hard to get it pure, totally pure, to get a vacuum in there. So a person, when they're not holy, it's the opposite. So I want to attract, okay, so there's two parts we said to meditation. The first part of meditation is just focusing the mind, to learn how to focus the mind, which is an ability in itself, right? And especially with the things which are distracting a person. I remember when I first worked for Magen David Yeshiva. Magen David Yeshiva was in a brand new building. And we had a new crew, which is all the new people. They hired a lot of new people. I was one of the new people they hired. And we got together before the year to plan the coming year. And the builders were still there in the building. And they're building, and there's noise, and there's dust, and there's all sorts of things going on. Who could focus? Right? You see one guy over there by his computer, absorbed totally, ignoring everything around him. So wow, that's amazing. That's the ability to meditate. That is the ability to focus. And that's what we have to try and get. At least when a person prays. Doesn't matter when a person prays. Sometimes the cell phone goes off. You're dying to see, because there's such a curiosity. A person's dying to see. Who? At least let me see, who is it? But it's the middle of Shemona Esrei. What am I going to do? Even if I know who it is, I can't answer it. Because once you talk in the Shemona Esrei, you ruin the whole Shemona Esrei. You can't talk in the middle of Shemona Esrei. It's a break. So what do? Nothing. And a person has to control themselves. Because the curiosity is so great. Sometimes the person walks in, you want to have a look. It's the middle of Shemona Esrei. Can't move. But to get the mind to focus is much harder. Okay, I can go through the motions. I can say, I'm ignoring all the interruptions. But to get the mind to focus with interruptions is very, very hard to do. And that's number one part of meditation, is focusing the mind, controlling the mind. And if you control your mind, you're maybe in the top 99% of the humanity. If you can control your mind. No one can control their minds. It's one of the hardest things to do. So just the learning how to control his mind, that's true gevurah. That is true mind. True might is controlling oneself, and controlling one's actions is much easier. Controlling one's speech is much harder, and controlling one's thoughts is the hardest. Those are the hardest kinds of gevura. Gevura is control. It's controlling oneself. So it's much easier to control the actions. So we believe in behavior modification. If you control your actions, Sefer HaChinuch says, you'll be able to control your thoughts. Because the actions are the things which cause the thoughts. Right? What do you think about? You think about things you want to do. I can't do it, but I think about it. I can't do it, but I want to do it. But a person says, listen, it's futile. I'm not going to do it, so why even think about doing it? So hopefully that will change the way a person thinks. But it's much harder. So actions, much easier to change, much easier to control. Speech, harder to control. Thoughts, practically impossible to control. And that's why a person has to learn how to control their thoughts. How do you control your thoughts? And the answer is diversions. Because the thoughts are going to go somewhere. You're always going to think. We talked about it. It's just a constant flow of thoughts. Constant flow of thoughts. So how do you control your thoughts? Diversion them. Diverting the thoughts to a good path, to a bad path. This person has bad thoughts, focus on something good. Focusing on something positive energy. Because if you're not focused on something good, automatically you're focused on something bad. It's not like there's a vacuum over there. There's no vacuum. So even when a person dreams, it's amazing. A person dreams at night in the sleep. If you are able, I learned this trick when I was a kid, because you had nightmares. Kids have nightmares all the time. What do you do with your nightmares? What happens to my batteries? What do a person do with their nightmares? And the answer is, I learned this technique when I was a kid. Flip the channel. Say to yourself in your nightmare, I don't like this channel. People used to flipping the switch on the TVs. So flip the switch. The person says to themselves, I want to flip the switch. It's a very important technique, and it works. Imagine a person sleeping, but they're so. This week's parasha is amazing. Yeah, Paro, he's sleeping and he has a dream. What happens? Vayikatz Paro. He woke up. He couldn't. So how does he control it? Go back to sleep and flip the switch. Don't change the channel. No, he has the same dream again. Similar kind of dream. It scares him out of his wits. He can't sleep. He wakes up. He says, "Vatipaim rucho." His soul was anxious. His soul was totally out of it. Huh?
Same verb, just shimsham.
Vatipaim rucho. Yeah. So a person can learn the ability to change the pathway of what they're focusing on. That's a technique. So how does a person do that? And the answer is, if you read a book, and you don't like the book, get another book. It's the same thing. The mind is something which you can focus, you can channel. Channel the mind in different pathways. So a person can learn how to channel the mind. It all depends on, we talked about, the highest level of the mind is the interest a person has. So a person has an interest in certain things, they think along that interest. A person has no interest in that, will not even think about it. Like, for example, I go to the post office. Believe me, I used to collect stamps when I was a kid, but I have no interest at all in stamps. So they ask you, when you go to the post office, okay, I want 20 stamps. What kind of stamps do you like? Like this thing, this kind? Anything you want. Just don't give me a Christmas stamp. So you can't tell them that. So I'll take the, what do you call it? The Forever stamp. Give me just a regular forever stamp with a flag on it. I don't know. Very good. Now they have Hanukkah stamps, actually. They do have Hanukkah stamps. I'm just saying, if you're not interested in something, you don't even think about it. I go to the post office. So I look at the guy, he's standing over in front of me. He's taking 2 hours in the cashier. Give me this and give me that. Show me this one, show me that one. What's the latest thing? I have no interest at all. Get me out of here. Move away. Get away from here. But the answer, what's the idea? The idea is because you only think about things you're interested in. The mind thinks about things they're interested in. The mind's not interested, not going to think about it. So a person's going to know how to focus their mind based on changing their interests. I'm not interested in this. A person tells the mind, you know what? Why are you wasting my time? The trouble is people are not in focus with their minds. A person's going to get in focus of where their mind is right now. What am I thinking about right now? Why is my mind thinking about this? I have no interest in it at all. So by talking to one's mind, it's interesting. We can talk to our minds. Because when you talk to your mind, you're talking to yourself. People don't realize that. That parts of us are not in our control. Basically, when you talk to your mind, you talk to your subconscious. The subconscious is not in your control because you never controlled it. It's just like a wild beast going on and on and on. So I has to tell his subconscious, listen, why are you telling me these things? I'm not interested. I don't want to collect stamps. I don't want to do worse things. I don't like chocolate cake. Leave me alone. I don't want to buy chips and buy this and nosh right now. Leave me alone. These things don't interest me. So it's not, as soon as you tell yourself it doesn't interest you, it starts not interesting you. But a person in the back of the mind knows it interests me. Therefore he can't take that thought out of his head because it's still interesting. Okay, so even if a person merits, and this is a very important point, we're on page 126. Even if a person merits Hashem's energy, Halavai, we should have merit Hashem's energy. You feel this, the energy, the influx going to a person. It all depends on how clean one's neshama is. So we talked about this, the idea of the ego. And that's the difference between Moshe Rabbeinu's prophecy and the other prophets. Moshe Rabbeinu had no ego. Anab mi'od mikol adam, he was the most humble person, no ego. And therefore his vessel was totally clean and pure. His vessel was clean and pure, and therefore the messages that came out of the vessel were clean and pure as well. So just like a glass receiving water. If the glass is dirty, the water looks dirty. If the prism is dirty, the light that comes out of the prism is also dirty. Right? Person looking through dirty glasses. What happens if a person's glasses are dirty? They won't see a clear picture. Everything looks cloudy. The same thing with prophecy. The person has an neshama which is not clean. The person has an ego which is not clean. It's amazing because they're clean enough to get some kind of influx, but not clean enough to see it clearly. It's amazing. Think about it. That means there are different levels. That's why there's different laws of prophecy. That's why there's different levels of prophecy. Why? Because I can get the message, I just can't see it clearly because it's coming through this dirty prism inside myself, which is my dirty soul. The soul is not 100% clear. So it's pure enough to get the influx, but it's not pure enough to see the clear message. Because there's different levels of purity. So that's why different levels of prophets. So some prophets are higher than the others, some prophets lower than the others. What's it depend on? It depends on the purity of the neshama. It depends on the egotistical desires. So it's very important. A good standard of spiritual cleanliness is therefore imperative. Shari Kedusha. He tells us what sort of things we have to do. So he says the first purification is to repent from all sin. Okay? More specific, plenty of sins around. Tale bearing. Oh boy. Telling tales. I went to the marketplace, I saw so-and-so do so-and-so, and so-and-so, and this guy said this, and this guy said that. He did this, and he did that, and she did this, and tale bearing. Frivolity and empty talk. It's so hard to keep away from because you're expected not to sit in silence. People think you're an idiot. So you sit with someone and they're, hi, how you doing? How's it going? How's the weather? How's it? Small talk. Keep away from small talk, he says. Keep far from pride, anger, and sadness. Oh, that's hard. It's so hard to keep away from pride, especially a person who's very accomplished. A person's not accomplished, you know the story, the guy comes to the rabbi and says, Rabbi, he says, I got a problem. He says, what's your problem? He says, I got pride. It's okay. Sit next to me. Spend a day with me. So the rabbi's sitting in his office, people knock on the door. Yes, what can I do for you? The guy comes in, he says, I need a job, I lost my job, can you help me, Rabbi? The rabbi turns to the guy, he says, can you help him? No. So the next guy comes in, he says, Rabbi, I need help, my wife is sick, can you say some prayers? Can you help him? No, I'm not a doctor. Next guy comes in, he says, I need this, I need that. Can you help him? No. So after the whole day, sitting next to the rabbi, the guy says, I don't understand the point of all this. I have a problem with pride. What am I sitting over here for? The rabbi said, listen, all these people came and asked for help, and you were not able to help even one person. So what are you so proud about? What can you do to help? You can't help? What's the pride? What's the pride for? It's false pride. So usually what happens is, pride is falsehood. That's what pride is. The definition of pride is falsehood. Because I can do more than I can. That's pride. So it's very important to keep away from the pride. But pride is so hard to keep away from because we all need, we have to define what is pride, what is self-esteem, because we all need self-esteem. Everyone needs self-esteem. And what is humility. So pride is falsehood. Very simple. Pride is falsehood. A person thinks I am something which I'm not. Self-esteem is I know the truth. These are my abilities. Okay. So what's humility? That's not humility. Self-esteem is not humility. Humility is, I know the truth. I have this ability, this ability, this ability. And you know what? They all come from God. That's humility. Humility is self-esteem plus knowing where everything came from. One says, I'm very good with my hands. I can do this and I can do that. Okay, that's self-esteem. That's not humility. Humility is saying, you know what, but everything I have is a gift from Hashem. That's humility. And that's what David HaMelech was. He was humble. Why? Because he realized that all his strength, everything he had, all came from Hashem. If he won the war, it wasn't him, it was Hashem. If he lost the war, it was him, it was Hashem. Everything was Hashem. Everything. So the first purification it's a very hard purification. It's not just going to the mikveh. Mikveh is the easy part of it. It's changing the inside of the person. That's the hard part. That's the hard part. That's the true hard part. So a person goes to mikveh, hopefully the mikveh will help the person to change inside. And a person goes to mikveh and says, I went to the mikveh, there's no one like me, I'm pure. He just defeated the whole purpose. It's ga'ava based on his deeds. A person shouldn't advertise, keep it quiet, should be modest and humble, shouldn't tell anyone. Should put a sign up, I went to mikveh today. Because some people want to do that. They make sure the hair is wet. They come into the shul. They make sure the hair is wet. They come with a towel. They have a big show. So a person's going to know. The whole point is to clean the inside. What's the inside you're trying to clean? The pure, the soul. And these are things which destroy the soul. The second purification is to keep all the mitzvot. So to get prophecy, to become a holy meditator, a person's going to go through these. You can't be holy and not do these things. A person cannot be holy and not do teshuvah inside. A person cannot be holy and speak lashon hara. A person cannot be holy and do all sorts of bad things. It's impossible. Plus, a person needs also, number 2, keep mitzvot. In particular, to have regular times for learning Torah. What we're doing now. To pray with kavanah, because that is the better meditation. We can't get a better meditation than that. There is no better meditation than tefillah. We have the person got to realize that. We talked about it last week, how important. And that's being lost, the idea that tefillah is meditation. If people realized how tefillah is a meditation, people would spend more time. Halavai will spend more time in tefillah. It's so hard. Sometimes, the Hasidim say the opposite. The Hasidim say, the hardest part of tefillah is aiming the arrow. They compare it to shooting an arrow. The hardest part is to know where you're aiming it for. So they take many hours before tefillah trying to aim the arrow. Some of them, they eat, they drink, they be happy, to get into the mood. And the tefillah is very fast because shooting the arrow, you let it go and it goes. But it's the aiming which is the key. That's the Hasidic concept. The concept we have is totally different. And you're right, the aiming is very important, but also the tefillah itself is very important. The time you spend thinking about the tefillah. It's hard. It's hard to spend time. Sometimes, the more time you spend, the more the mind goes off. So a person's got to know themselves. Sometimes it's better to say something very fast and say the minimum and get it done with kavanah than say a maximum with no kavanah. And that's Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch says, Tov me'at tachanunim b'kavanah, me'arbeh bli kavanah. It says it's better to pray a lot, pray a little with kavanah than pray a lot without kavanah. So it's a quality, it's not just a quantity, it's quality. Today we have no quality, and therefore the rabbis made a lot of quantity. That's the idea. That's the reason why Shabbat prayers take so long. Right? Because we're missing in quality, we'll make up for in quantity. At least we'll make it up with something. Second purification, keep all the mitzvot. Regular times for learning Torah. To pray with kavanah. To love each person like the pupil of one's eye. How do you do that? It's so hard to love each person. It's very hard. You have no affinity to this guy, and you're meant to love the guy. If he didn't do anything bad to you, you have an obligation to love him. What do you mean by love him? Don't say anything bad about him, the Rambam says. Right? You have to honor him the way you want others to honor you. To honor Shabbat. And this is the hard part. Get up every night at midnight to mourn for the Jerusalem and learn Torah. It's so hard. In those days, it's very easy. Why? Because their day stopped when it got dark. Very easy. Day stops. 7:30 at night, go to bed, get up midnight, no problem. 7:30, I get up at 1, 2 o'clock. And my day starts at 2, 3 o'clock. And I go back to bed at 7 o'clock. Today our day starts very late. Our day starts earlier and it ends much later.
If it ends.
If it ends, huh? Doesn't end?
If it ends.
Dividend, huh?
No, if it ends, the work day.
If it ends, it doesn't end. It usually ends.
So usually.
People don't work 24 hours. Not even in America. And all one's deeds should be l'shem shemaim. So hard to do. So hard to do. And that gets a person on a higher spiritual level. And then they can truly start meditating on holy things and get some kind of reply. In all your words, actions, and thoughts. And this is the first halakha in Shulchan Aruch. A person must think Hashem is right there. It's so hard to have that thought all the time. Hashem is right here. You have no concept. Shiviti Hashem legdi tamid. A person always got to think. They're sitting down. The Shulchan Aruch says when they're sitting down eating, Hashem is right there. How do you think of that? It's so hard. You're driving, Hashem is right there. So listening to Torah tapes. Even then, a person listening to Torah tapes, but they might forget about Hashem. Being engrossed in the material is very engrossing. But don't lose track of the fact that I'm doing this for Hashem. I'm doing this for Hashem, I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it because of the enjoyment. There were people in Europe at one time who learned Talmud for the sake of learning Talmud, for the fun of learning Talmud. On Shabbat, smoking cigarettes. Hard to imagine, right? Because they enjoyed it so much. The intellectual, we can't imagine, these guys are Gemara cop, you know, intellectual abilities learning Gemara. Analyzing Gemara, they're so enjoyable, they lost track. The whole purpose of learning Torah is to get closer to God. So forget God, forget Shabbat, learn. Doesn't work. So a person's got to think about Hashem all the time. Harav Yitzhak min Akko wrote the following, and this we talked about last week. This is very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. The person says, you know what, I want to be a Navi. So you don't have to be a Navi. Because the Navi will come to you. Hashem will come to you. We talked about Shmuel last week. Right? He wasn't. He was a kid, 8 years old. Hashem came to him. So what does he say? A person who wishes to correct his character, perfect his ways and deeds, to pursue humility to the nth degree, to be insulted and not insult others, to hear his shame and not respond, immediately the Shekhinah will rest on them. In other words, it's automatic. The person doesn't have to look for it, strive for it. They'll get it without even asking. This is amazing. It's automatic. He will not need to learn from any other person, since the Spirit of God will teach him. This is what happened to the Arizal. If you're looking for holiness and trying to become holy, Hashem says, oh, you're trying? I'll help you. I'll come with you. That's why Abraham Avinu is looking for God. He doesn't have to be, I don't know, tried his best to meditate and think. But he's looking for God. He's honest. God appears to him.
It's weird. It's like it's not just even doing those things. It's wanting to do them.
Yes. Yes, exactly. It's not just doing, it's the wanting. We said before, the highest part of the brain is the yearning. The yearning is really attached to the neshama. That's how a person can know if the neshamas are pure neshama or not pure. I mean, all neshama are pure. We're talking about where the soul, the spiritual level of the person, where he's getting his yonek. He is getting energies from. Is he yonek from the good side or the bad side? It depends. What do you think about? What's his yearning? What's your yearning in life? If your yearning is a very holy yearning, you're getting good side energy. If your yearning is very bad, it's getting bad side energy. Very simple. A person knows what the yearning is. That's the deepest yearnings of a person. What is your deepest yearnings? That's who you are. That's who you are. A person's got to know what the deepest yearnings are. What is your deepest yearning? My deepest yearning is to have good food. That's the deepest yearning. You're going to bring problems. It's not as bad as some other things. It doesn't have deepest. I'm saying deepest yearnings. That's your deepest yearning. Why deepest yearning? A person says, I want to get close to Hashem. Oh, you hit the jackpot. You hit the jackpot. A person says, I want to move to Israel. I really want to move to Israel. I want to be in a holy land. You hit the jackpot. A person says, I want to learn Torah all day because I want to get close to Hashem. I want to learn Torah, the holy Torah. I want to become holy. Hit the jackpot. All these are vehicles to hit the jackpot. A person, I want to do all the mitzvot. I want to keep all the mitzvot. Hit the jackpot. Okay. A person wants to achieve Hitbodedut should do the following: keep away from the opposites. Number 1, be joyful with one's lot in life. It's so hard to be joyful. Whatever's happening in my life, I'm happy. It's so hard to be happy. Sometimes it's very easy. Everything's going well, and even then people are not happy. It's so tragic. So Hashem says, oh, you're not happy when things go well? Oh, change Change it a little bit. Put some salt in the food. Put some spice in your life. And now, a person can be happy in the worst situations. They must be the happiest people in the world. Chanina ben Dosa. Rav Chanina ben Dosa, it says, never had 2 pennies in his world. His wife was complaining about the lack of food. There's no food in the house. There's no challah for Shabbat. Can you imagine what it's like? No challah for Shabbat. She's embarrassed. The neighbors are watching, and there's no smoke coming from a chimney. So she puts wood inside the stove. And the neighbor knows she has nothing. So the neighbor's a nasty neighbor. She comes in. Oh, your bread's burning. She comes in. Let's take it out. She pushes it away into the kitchen. She opens the oven. Can you imagine? And she gets a shock. There are chalot inside. Miracle happened. He was always happy. He had to be happy. You know why he had to be happy? Because you can't be on a high level without being happy. That's the trouble. Yaakov Avinu did not know that Yosef was alive because he was sad, depressed. Imagine if he was happy, no problem. It's so hard to be happy all the time. It's so hard when things are going not so well to be happy all the time. It's so hard. That's a very high spiritual level. A very high, and straight away a person can measure the spiritual level by their joy in life. And the people who are really spiritual are happy all the time. Regardless what happens, always happy. Amazing. And it's like Kaduri. You could not get him to say a bad word. You could not get him to be upset. always with a smile on his face. You told him something, they told him by this guy down the street, he's copying you, he's dressing up like a mekubal and people are going to him for blessings, they give him money. Didn't upset him in the least. Well, he's going to take my job away. He's not going to take anything away from me. He's a fake. What can I tell you? He didn't say anything. Didn't say a word against the person. That's his reply. A smile. And that's amazing. In other words, a person should be like Teflon. It's very hard to be like Teflon. Things that are happening in a person's life. I know someone like that. Nothing sticks to the guy. I don't know if it's good or bad. You can never be serious with a person. He's always. On the other hand, he definitely has a good life. Why? Because nothing upsets the guy. It doesn't matter what happens. Not interested. He's not interested in anything. That's number 1. Be joyful in life. It's so hard to be joyful in life. Number 2. A person should love being alone. Most people don't like being alone. It's one of the worst punishments you can give in today's society. Solitary confinement. But can you imagine what a person can achieve if they know what to do? Yash Natan Sharansky. Meditation. He knew, if you can talk about meditation, he would play chess with himself. I mean, how do you? He had a Tanakh, which he memorized the Tanakh. I mean, so if you know how to guide your brain and control the brain, otherwise the person will go crazy. I don't know, I've never spoken to Jonathan Pollard. He's alone in the cell. Solitary confinement. What do you do? So at least you have books, you have things to read, and you go crazy. But a person who loves solitary confinement will be a great prophet. Eliyahu Navi, 40 days. Moshe Rabbeinu, 40 days, 40 nights. Solitary. He's with the angels. It's interesting because when you're solitary from people, that's when you start getting messages from above. When you mix with people, it's so hard to get messages. It's very hard to get messages. Too many distractions. So this kind of person, you want to meditate, you got to love seclusion. Why? Because it's hard to meditate when you're around other people. You have to go in the room and close the door and say, that's it. Adam Kiyamut Bohem. My phone's off, my this is off, I don't take messages, that's nothing. Got to go and sit there quietly and think. And number 3, flee from any positions of honor. Flee from honor. Okay, then we come to this famous, we just did this today actually, it's interesting, in the morning Mishnah class. We did the last Mishnah, well, close to the last Mishnah in Sota, which talks about Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair. There's a debate. Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair is famous for his donkey. Well, he's famous for other things as well. Great rabbi. Pinchas ben Yair is a great rabbi. Some people say he was the father-in-law of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Can you imagine the father-in-law of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai? And some people say he was the son-in-law of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. But he was the one, when Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai came out of the cave, he started crying. To see Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, can't imagine the blisters the man had. He was living basically in sand. So Pinchas ben Yair takes Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, wants to massage him with oil. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is screaming in pain, leave me, leave me. And Rabbi Pinchas Ben Yair is crying, every blister, crying so much. He says, why are you crying? Because every time he cried, the tears would go into the blister and make the Rosh Hashanah pain. Salt water. You're putting salt water in my wounds. He said, I'm crying because I see you in such a state. He says, listen, he says, my state got me so much knowledge, I'm so happy. Rosh Hashanah said. Rosh Hashanah was so happy that he got to the level of, he knew so much because of that cave, and because of all the blister, all the suffering he had, led to so much knowledge from above, he was happy. Rabbi Pinchas Ben Yair was so sad because he saw him in that situation. But Shimon was happy until he started crying into his blisters. So Rabbi Pinchas Ben Yair, very big rabbi, obviously very holy person. You can't be not holy and be a father-in-law Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, a son-in-law Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. There's no way a son-in-law for sure. He was picked. You don't pick someone who's... So anyway, so the story is, he had a donkey. And his donkey would only eat tithed food. Can you imagine? If the food was not, if the food they gave him was not tithed, the donkey would not eat it. The donkey could smell the difference between food is holy and food is not holy. Amazing. So we say, there's the saying in the Gemara, it says, if the early rabbis were like angels, then we are like humans. If the early rabbis were like humans, then we are like donkeys. I'm not saying this is what the Gemara says. Yeah. And we're not like the donkey of Rabbi Pinchas Ben Yair, because he was a high-level donkey. Well, I'll say. And Rabbi Pinchas Ben Yair is a very famous saying, on which the whole of Mesilat Yesharim is based on, which we did many years ago. It's time to do it again. We did Mesilat Yesharim, right? Mesilat Yesharim is the path of the just, written by Rav Moshe Chaim Luzzatto in 8 days. He wrote this book in 8 days. Rav Moshe Chaim Luzzatto was amazing. He wrote about 70 books, and he died at the age of 38. 70 books, 28. He was already a Navi at the age of 17. I mean, not Navi, but he became Ruach HaKodesh at the age of 17. Big Kabbalist, big teacher. He's also involved with the sciences as well. When he moved to Amsterdam, he became a lens grinder. Made glasses, telescopes. So Rabbi Pinchas Ben Yair says, this is a famous brighter. There's different versions of this. This version is not in the Ramchal, because he missed over here. This version misses out the first of the different traits. So there's different versions. The main version is in Avodah Zarah, page 20b. This version is in Sotah, in the Mishnah in Sotah, in chapter 9, Mishnah 15. Zrizut leads to Nikiyut. So Ramchal says, before Zrizut, there's Zehirut. Zehirut is be careful. Let's be careful. Don't do anything negative. Keep away from negative commandments. Keep away from breaking negative commandments. That's number one. The first of the Hippocratic oaths, which is?
Do no harm.
Do no harm. So number one, as a Jew, a person got to know, what's the first thing? Don't break any negative commandments. Do no harm. So before a person even thinks about positives, first thing is clean the slate. A person's got to think, what am I doing negative? I'm breaking this negative commandment. I spoke Lashon Hara. I'm breaking this negative commandment. I stole. I break this negative. All sorts of negative. Person got to, number one is try to cut out any negative commandments that break. Number two, Zrizut. Do as many positive commands as you can. Be quick to do them, and be quick to finish them. Because some people are quick to start, they don't finish the whole thing. They start many different things, many different programs they have, but they don't finish one. So it's a problem. Because the mitzvah goes by the guy who finishes the mitzvah. How do we know? Moshe Rabbeinu started burying Yosef. But the mitzvah is called after Bnei Israel because they buried Yosef in Shechem. Which is unfortunate, because he's there with the people who don't respect him and want to destroy his kever. And they did. And they had to rebuild it, and they're doing it again. So, Zehirut, be careful, be cautious. Keep away from bad things. Keep away from breaking negative commandments. Zrizut, do good, positive commandments. And that leads to Nikiyut, which is clean from all kinds of sins. And that leads to purity. And purity leads to separation. That's interesting. Purity is pure from sin. It leads to a high level of being separate from the regular mundane. And obviously when you're separate from other regular mundane things, and that's the key, really, this is really a key to getting prophecy. Separating from materialism. It's so hard today in our materialistic world, especially now, because now I'm getting bombarded with emails from different places. Right? Buy. or you go outside this, you go to the mall, buy. You get the circulars, buy. Now it's time buying season. What is buying season? The most materialistic season there is. And the moment it's so hard to celebrate a spiritual holiday we talked about earlier in a materialistic world, because the whole message of Hanukkah is totally spiritual, and yet it's becoming more and more materialistic. Right? Unfortunately, it's tragic. It's becoming more. It's supposed to losing the spirituality of Hanukkah. It's supposed to lose the spirituality by becoming more materialistic. It's supposed to realize the true path is the less materialism, the more spirituality. And there's no other way. There's no other way to get spirituality. It's going to be less materialistic. So more the focus on the me, which is the ego, more the focus on how am I dressed is just materialism, the less they have focus on the spiritual. Separation leads to holiness. Holiness leads to humility. Humility leads to fear of sin. Fear of sin leads to piety. Piety leads to Ruach HaKodesh. Ruach HaKodesh leads to Tchiyat HaMetim. Halavai, we could do this. Imagine. Everyone wants this, like a vision. I want to do Tchiyat HaMetim. Imagine, doctor, imagine if you could do Tchiyat HaMetim. You'd be famous.
Too busy.
Everyone would be, you'd be very busy. You'd be even busier than you are now. But you know what? It's just the once off. You just, the guy's alive, walking, goodbye, see you. Fixed for life.
Wow, did you get sick?
I don't know if they get sick again. I don't know. Maybe they do. Obviously they do. They die eventually.
Then you have to bring them back again.
Come back to you, don't worry. So you see all the different levels. These are different levels that we have to go through. A person thinks, I want to meditate. I want to receive some kind of influx from Hashem. There's a pathway. It's not just depending on Hashem. It depends on you. You have to work at it. You have to reach a certain level, certain heights. Okay. Now we come to another version. This is more Hasidish. If a person desires godliness, should rest upon him. The most important thing is to understand and clearly perceive there is nothing but Hashem inside him that keeps him alive. Who is keeping us alive right now? Hashem. I want Hashem. Where is He? Who's keeping you alive right now? Oh, I didn't think about that. I thought I'm just naturally alive. It's like the world, right? Who keeps the world alive? Who keeps the world going? The world is just kept alive every second. Hashem is repressing the button every second to keep the world going. Otherwise the world would just gone. Hashem is willing the world to exist every second, otherwise the world would just not exist. Very simple. Who wills us to exist? Hashem. So therefore we are linked to Hashem. How do I know I'm linked to Hashem? I'm alive. It's amazing. It's so simple. I'm linked to Hashem because I'm alive. Now let me build on that link. That's what he's saying. Build on the link. If a person has even a little pride, then he's not attached to Hashem. It's me, it's not Hashem, it's me. So that's why the greats, Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron say, "V'nachnu ma." What are we? We're nothing, zeros. And Avraham Avinu says, "Anochi afar va'efer," which is something which is already less level, a lower level than Moshe Rabbeinu of prophecy. And David HaMelech says, "Ani riba v'torah." I am a snake. I'm a worm. Okay. So let's move on. Look at this, amazing. This is amazing. This is totally. This is really the key to receiving influx from Hashem. Number one, in order to attain enlightenment, a person needs to be alone, in a place where no one can disturb them from his thoughts. The person needs to be boded in his thoughts to the very extreme. So he's got to isolate his thoughts from everything around him. And then we come to the clincher. This is very clincher. He should disrobe his body from his soul. The person can remove the material body from their soul. Not even think of them as a body. Can't even look in a mirror. I'm not a body anymore. I'm a soul now. I'm just focusing on the spiritual side of me. So that he doesn't consider himself clothed at all by the material, but that he is only soul. It's very hard to think of that, right? Because we're always so attached to our bodies. Now, if you think you're only a soul, at that instant you're thinking about it, you are. That's what you are. That's what the Rambam says, right? You are what you think about it. You are what you think. So a person thinks, I'm not a body. I'm looking at my soul now. Imagine looking to the window, into the mirror, and looking into your eyes and saying, who am I really? Have you ever tried that? It's a very sobering thought. Who am I really? It's a very sobering thought, I'm telling you. Because you see things inside your eyes which you never thought before. Most people don't look inside their own eyes. It's a very scary kind of thing. Because looking at the real you, it's a pretty scary thing. But a person even goes even beyond that. I'm not looking into my eyes, I'm looking into my soul. I'm thinking about my soul. All I think about is my soul. So a person doesn't even consider themselves clothed by the material, but that he is only soul. The more he separates from the material, the greater will be the enlightenment. If he consciously registers any sound or movement that disturbs his thoughts, or himself as material thoughts, the soul will immediately stop from cleaving to the higher worlds. So as soon as there's a break, that's the key. Meditation is got to be without any breaks. If there's a break, it stops the flow completely. A person's going to go to a place where there's no distractions. A person's going to be able to withstand distractions as well. Because once there's distractions, just mind stops. Because the higher holiness does not rest on a person if he is attached to material by even a hair. That's the problem. The problem is that a person is going to break with materialism completely. It's so hard to do today. So you see some people, and when you get older, you get to the point where materialism loses some value. You know, a person says, you know what, I don't want to keep changing my car. I like driving an old car. My house is fine. I don't have to do up my kitchen anymore. But it gets to the point where they can do with less. My mother's great. I go to my mom, Ma, you need a new pot. You have a pot. What am I going to do with it? How long more do I have to live in this world? But that should be an attitude we should all have. You know, this world is just temporary. That was the Chavetz Chaim's attitude. This world is just temporary. Where's all your stuff? But I'm a visitor. I'm a tourist. I'm also a tourist. It's so hard to think like that. But we're all stuck to the materialism. We just can't get. And the trouble is, the more materialism we have, the more we have troubles with materialism. Because you have to pay your taxes, and you have to pay this, and you have to do this, and they drive you mad. These people drive you mad. You can't get away from it. Materialism. Because there's 5 houses, now you got to worry about paying the taxes on 5 houses, and fixing 5 houses, and getting who's the tenant in this house, tenant in that house, tenant in that. Materialism. Marbe nechasim, marbe daga. The Rabbi said, more property, the more troubles. That's why children are the happiest. Why? No worries. Daddy will look after it. Mommy will look after it. Even if a person is eligible for Ruach HaKodesh, imagine. It will not rest in them if he has not learned to completely separate from the material. That's really a key. See, one of the keys of meditation is separation from material. It's so hard to do. So hard to do. We're surrounded by material. In a sense, we need a material. You can't live without material. You can't live without eating. So obviously, there's going to be a time period where a person's not thinking about food. Like Yom Kippur, right? The first part of Yom Kippur. Not the second part of Yom Kippur. The night of Yom Kippur, that's why night of Yom Kippur, you become stuffed in, that's when you're the holiest. Because your mind is the furthest away from materialism. It really drives very nicely. Right? So what is the ability to meditate? It's based on your focus and your concentration, your ability to concentrate. But where does the influx come from? It comes from only if you're pure. If you're pure, it'll come from a pure place. If you're not pure, it's not going to come from a pure place. So that's number 2, we have to be pure. And number 3, a person's going to separate materialism. So even a person has the power to meditate. He knows how to focus his brain. Even though a person is purely pure completely and he has no sins at all, he does the mitzvot all day. They're very materialistic. No Ruach HaKodesh. See all the great rabbis who had Ruach HaKodesh? They lived in one room basically. Their houses are one room. All they do all day is learn Torah all day. They don't get interruptions from anyone. Just to give brachot. And even then they try not to give long brachot. I heard Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky. What does he say? Buha. He doesn't say 2 words. Bracha v'hatzlacha. Buha, 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 buha. He doesn't have time to say 2 words. He shortened it completely. Buha, buha, buha. Keep going. Keep moving. Keep moving because you're taking up my time. My time is precious to me. I don't have time. I want to learn this. I want to learn that. Can you imagine? He has a certain amount of pages of Gemara he has to learn every day. Otherwise, he won't be able to finish Shas every year. You have to 7 pages a day. He has a certain amount of Tehillim to learn a day. He wants to finish Tanakh every 2 months or whatever it is. Mishnayot. Otherwise, we should all be like that. But that's how he gets Ruach HaKodesh. How? No material thoughts. Famous Khatam Sofer. Khatam Sofer. Rav Moshe, what's his name? Rav Moshe Schreiber. It was Khatam Sofer. Very, very famous. So he barely had time to eat. he was learning all day, and he had responsa at night. So what happened was he had one of his students was looking after him. So he had like a tea time. He'd bring a cup of tea, bring a cake, put it in front of the rabbi at like 4 p.m., whatever, 5 p.m. to have some nourishment in the middle of the day. So usually the cake just sits there. Nothing happens. So one of the students was really hungry. He was really starving. Beautiful cake over there. Listen, the rabbi doesn't even know whether the cake's there or not. What difference does it make to him? So what happens? So I'll eat the cake. So the rabbi wouldn't even know about it. So the student ate the cake. The rabbi was busy, he's studying. No, didn't pay attention. But when the rabbi finished studying, looks at the plate, there's crumbs on the plate. It means there was a cake there. He calls the guy in. Hey, come here quickly, tell me. What happened to the cake? Ooh, did you eat it, Rabbi? The rabbi says, I don't know if I ate it or not, but I definitely did not say a bracha. And if I did not say a bracha, I definitely didn't eat it either. So in other words, he didn't remember whether he ate it or not. He definitely remembered he didn't say a bracha. So in other words, we remember things that are important to us. We only remember things that are important to us. Things which are not important, don't remember. Did I say Birkat Hamazon or not? I'm not sure. What do you mean you're not sure? You didn't say Birkat Hamazon. You mean it's not important to you? That's what it means. I can't remember. Did I say Yalev Yavo in the Shmoneh Esrei or not? What do you mean you don't remember? Did I pray for rain or did I pray for not? How do you not even remember that? We're all in that same boat. That's why there's halachot and shulchan aruch. Otherwise, we'll be halachot and shulchan aruch. Why? Because these things are not so. Why not? Why are these things not important? Because we're diverted to materialistic things, material worries. Our thoughts are all material worries. Hashem should help us. How many people go to the rabbi and say, Rabbi, give me a bracha, I should be more spiritual? How many people say that? How many people go to the bracha and rabbi and say, please, Hashem, give me the power to learn Shas before I die. I want to learn Shas before I die. How many people have a bracha for the spiritual things?
It's even worse than that, because these are material things that we should be praying for, like Rachalenu.
Yeah, but the reason the Rabbi says that. Rabbi says, why are we praying for material things? Why are the blessings material? Because the material blessings are the mechanism by which you have more materialism, so you can serve God better with the spirituality, which is ironical. But we need to eat.
No, I know.
We need to live.
Not focusing on things that help
But to
us.
focus on it all the time. That's it. We've got to remember we need basics.
Yeah.
Once you start increasing it, that's the topic. Okay, so it's beautiful. So a person's got to learn how to take away, remove the materialism from themselves. Focus on the spiritual. That's really what Hanukkah is all about. It's very good. It's just for Hanukkah. It's focus on the spiritual parts. Even though the Maccabees were warriors and they had to fight, well, they weren't warriors. They were Kohanim. And they had to fight. They had to fight. The fighting was not the main thing. The main thing was, we want to purify the Beit HaMikdash. We want to be able to serve God, the real God, in the real way. We don't. It's not. The fighting is just the mechanism by which we're going to achieve our goals. But that's not the main thing. And that's why Hanukkah is not celebrated with physical victories, with military parades. I'm very much anti-military parades. Even though, okay, sometimes it's good to scare people, scare the enemy. So we have this power, we have that power. But just to show off, it's total ga'ava. And it diverts a person from the spiritual quest. Why do we need an army? Not because we need the army. We need the army because we are able to have yeshivot, to be able to learn Torah. We need the peace and security to be able to learn and serve God. That's what we're praying for. That's what Rambam says. Why do we want Mashiach? Why do Jews want Mashiach? Not to take vengeance on the world. We want Mashiach to be able to have peace and quiet. No anti-Semitism. So be able to study and be able to learn Torah and be more spiritual. But as Hashem will get there, and now's a good time of the year to do it.